All right, how you doing, Deja? Welcome to Javon Wants to Know.
Hello, Jay. How are you? So excited about this. I
Awesome.
was just saying it's weird because I'm normally the one interviewing, but to be interviewed, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I know that's a big difference, like going from, asking the questions to now someone's asking you the questions.
Exactly.
Well, before I get to asking what I want to know, tell everyone who's watching, who you are, what do you do, and what's interesting about yourself.
Awesome. Okay, well, my name is Daisha Breedlove. That is my real name. I get asked all the time, is that a stage name? I'm like, no, that's my real last name. So yeah, Daisha Breedlove. I'm a model, actress, host, and I also would classify myself as a healer, because I'm really big on positive energy and everybody's life I've came into, they always become a better person, and I'm really big on just, being a light in the world. So yeah, I'm also a business owner as well. I have a cosmetic line called It Factor Global. So I do a couple of things.
That's nice. Okay. And that was pretty
Yeah.
brief, but to the point. You really know yourself like that.
Yeah, I do. I would say so.
That's good. You say you're I'm going to get into the modeling in a minute, but you say you're a business owner and it's a, cosmetic company, and this is something that I've worked with you in the past on, which to me I think is very amazing. Um, Talk about the approach to that, being the mindset of starting the business, the type of business, the things that you do to promote it and make it, global as the name is.
Yeah, so I would say It Factor Global started because for one, I've always been into like makeup and beauty. So again, last name Breedlove, love beauty, all that definitely has been my world my entire life. So it wasn't a big surprise to everybody when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come out with my own makeup line. But also I've been obsessed with red lipstick. But after doing the research on it, as far as like the meaning behind it and the history of it, I was like, okay, I'm going to introduce It Factor Global with the power of the red lipstick. So basically, women were not allowed to vote back in like the 1400s and 1800s, pardon me. And them wearing red lipstick was a power move to let them know, because I'm a woman, you can't silence me. So the suffragette movement, once I kind of dig deeper on that, I was like, oh, this is so powerful. Like it's so many women who feel like that they don't have a voice. And that's what the divine feminine energy is, having a voice, but still remaining and being in that, feminine energy. So, the power of the red lip, that was something I wanted to just let the whole world know about. And that was what inspired me to actually start the line myself. And this is actually the lipstick that I'm wearing right now.
I love it. That's a great color too. I definitely, I've bought it for, my wife, and she fell in love with it right away. So,
Yes. And
I
she looked beautiful in it.
thank you. Yes, she does.
Yes.
Okay. And then, you had said something that was very interesting. So your last name is Breedlove. You said that a lot of people don't catch that like that is real. Explain that to me again.
Yeah, so basically when people meet me, they're like, I'm always, like I said, I'm big on like positive energy. And it just so happened that it all just kind of fit. My last name just so happened to be Bree Love as well. And they're like, wait, not only are you like a sweet person, but like is that your real last name? When me doing like, the acting and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is actually my real last name. So I literally have been getting that my entire life, because they're like, that's just weird. Like the fact that it kind of matches your whole vibe and your whole aura, and that's your actual name, like that's kind of strange. But I'm like, I guess it is. But yeah, that's actually my real last name. Yeah, Breedlove. So people, I always got to explain the whole thing to people when they ask me, like, because in Hollywood, I guess people change their name a lot. And I'm from Indiana, so I'm from the Midwest. I'm actually not from LA. So that was a new world for me too, like coming here and actually realizing that people do really change their name. But yeah, that's my real name. And I get asked that till this day.
Yeah, Hollywood has stage names. A lot of people don't realize that. People really probably think Jamie Foxx is his real name, but y'all could go
Yeah,
Google it. That's not his name. His name's
that's
not
crazy.
Brad Pitt. Like a lot of these people, names are their stage names, which makes sense to me. It's just
Hmm.
a way to separate yours. I think that as an actor, you if you have another personality, which would be your stage name, then what you do is you become that personality, and then you go ahead and apply for the role, audition for the role. So you always can be that personality applying for the role. So it never changes. So now we're used to Brad Pitt, we're used to Jamie Foxx. But when they go home, they're Mr. Who is who the normal person
The
is.
normal part, right? It
Yeah,
turns off.
yeah, it
And I
turns
think
out.
we had that conversation. You were telling me about that. Like people change their name here, and that's like, a big thing. So I think we briefly talked about that a couple years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Interesting.
let's see. Speaking of acting, so what I want to know is, um, I've seen you on just random. I was watching a show or something. I see you popping up on these different shows. I seen you on Bel Air. You're on what is that? A Family Business. I
Yeah.
seen you on a Wayne Brady show. I forgot what the name of it's
That's
called.
a big deal.
Yeah, let's make a deal. I was working
Yeah.
out and it popped up, and I'm like, oh shoot, there's Deja again. Deja's out there making it happen. Now what I want to know is, working in that industry, do you come across any people that you just don't like working with?
Definitely. You know what I mean? Because it's like being in that industry, I mean, majority, I mean, it's true what people say. A lot of the industry is dark. Let's just be honest. You know what I mean? It's a lot of negative people. It's a lot of people who they say so-called like sold their souls, etc. So me, it's like I'm a humanitarian. I'm a life path number 9, which is also something I suggest people kind of look into so you can learn more about yourself. But with being a humanitarian, I come across like all different types of people, and I see through people who are healed, people who are unhealed, and a lot of times I realize the negative energy that they're giving you is because they're unhealed. It's because of like trauma that they've been through, or a lot of things that they've experienced, and they're just passing it down. So I definitely have came across a lot of negative people, but I've learned to, and it took a while to get here for sure. Because at first I'll be like, look, why does this person not like me? And I'm being nice to them, or why are they like this? But then once you kind of start to dig deeper, you start to realize some of the people don't even know what they're doing, and it's just like I said, trauma being passed down, and you learn to just not let it affect you. So you don't take it personal. Like when you learn to master the art of like not taking things personal, that's when you realize a lot of stuff you'll be able to just bounce back from. But like I said, it was a process to even get here. But once I learned that, I'm like, you know what? Another person is unhealed, another person who is unawakened or who got some trauma or some demons that they're fighting. I'm gonna just go this way. And I just choose not to surround myself around those type of people because again, you are who you surround yourself around. So you learn to deal with them. Maybe you got to deal with them on business. You keep it there. But as far as like letting them in on a closer level, you kind of just keep your distance. So that's what I do. I kind of just do my own thing. I don't really let people affect me with their negativity. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. That's I love your smile.
thanks.
Yeah, that's good. Definitely just seeing that how you handle it. You're handling it with you seeing the energy, you don't let it affect you, you move on. And that's probably the best advice that you can give us all, because we're all in this media industry, and
Yeah.
me as a photographer, I've had photographers that I'm gonna be honest, I have some photographers I do not like.
Yeah. We had a lot of talks about this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and it's not on a jealousy or hate thing either. It's just really on a like you said, energy thing. It's like I know this person is not really a good person, and
Right.
so I stay away from them, like you say, and get around the photographers that's really cool with me, and we work well together. So it works out.
Yeah, because I think we were talking about that too. Like you find your tribe. You know what I mean? You
Right.
align with the people who you're meant to align with, and the people who you're not, those are just not your people. So
Yeah.
I accepted that that's okay. Like I said, the more spiritual I've become, I realize everything kind of happens for a reason. And the people who either get taken out of your life or their vibe just somehow just doesn't match yours, especially after so many examples of you of the same kind of conclusion, you realize that's just not your person, and that's okay. So keep it moving. You'll find your tribe.
Yeah, facts. And then so here's a you have you have a lot of things that you do, and it just shows that you're well versed in a lot. And you have your show, which is Deja Breedlove Presents, and you present different people you interview, and you've interviewed some really famous people too. But you've interviewed people that are not famous that do great things as well. Off the
Mhm.
top of your head, if you could think of who is the most memorable or exciting person that you remember interviewing, you could give them a shout out right now as well.
I would say one of my favorite people that I've interviewed so far will definitely be that's I interviewed a lot of people. You're right, you're right. Um well, I would say the first one would definitely be you. You were definitely one of my favorite guests because
Oh, no.
you wasn't expecting that, was you?
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, you were one of my favorite guests, and our interview actually got a lot of views because you actually t helped me as a feminine tap into like the divine masculine perspective, you know? So I feel like a lot of stuff that you dropped, a lot of gems as far as like being a married man, but also working with women a lot, you know, just being in the media, you know, just how to just be versatile. I think that was very eye-opening for a lot of men. So and I always like to help people, you know. So we talk about a lot of feminine stuff, but we tapped into that. So you were one of my favorite guests for sure.
Thank you.
Also would say Edie. He's a Jamaican artist. So shout out to Edie. He was definitely one of my favorite artists as well. Sharing his story about how he came from Jamaica, as well as it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. I will also say too, I gotta of course say Shep. Shep was definitely one of my,
Yeah.
favorite artists as well, just because as being just basically being able another person who's versatile and also having a rare thing of having parents who are still married to this day. So being an only child and having that perspective was pretty interesting. So I would say him, but also last but not least, I don't know if you remember like a couple years ago. I got two more. One would
Okay.
be Ola Shay. He was the guy who was actually molested as a child. Do you remember
Oh,
that in the
wow.
church?
Oh
Which was
yeah,
pretty,
yeah, yeah. I
that's when I
remember that.
first started. That
Yeah,
was pretty, but I gotta give it to him because that's so bold of you to actually share that with the world. And how many
yeah,
people have been through that? You know what I mean?
yeah. I remember him.
So
He was a very nice person too. I liked him.
yeah, that was very I gotta give a lot of respect to him. And my last one would be definitely Haley. She is the paranormal
Oh
um
yeah, yeah.
into paranormal activities. So that was me being a spiritual person. I'm not into like ghosts and stuff, but she was also Virgo, which is funny. But she shared a lot of gems and opened a lot of eyes as far as just that world, you know what I mean? So that was pretty interesting. It was scary but interesting. So I gotta give it to her, but I think those are my favorite guests so far.
I love it. Yeah. And those are good. See, for you people who's watching who don't know, I shoot the show for her, and it's a great show. And so I've got to experience a lot of these guests I've never heard of that she bring on the show, and they're very interesting. I'll say some of the favorite ones I like. I like the guy Slink Johnson. He was really funny.
Oh yes,
Yeah. And
Lee.
then there
See,
was
we interview so many people. I'm like,
right.
and I'm missing a lot of people, but yeah, those are
The
my.
comedian. I like the comedians. You had another comedian on there. I forgot his
Um,
name. He was
yes, that was oh, what the I can't think of his name right now. To it Patrick
Patrick. Yeah,
was funny.
you asked him his ideal woman, and then he looked at you and he was like, she got on a red dress. I think you had on a red dress or something
Oh
like that,
my
and you was like, you talking about me? It was so hilarious. So I thought that was funny. But my
God,
favorite two guests that you had
who?
is the big boy and me. Is your chefs because they cook. One did some
Oh
lobster and mac and
yes!
cheese,
Oh
and
my
one did some
gosh!
jerk chicken. So I love that.
Yes, the mac and cheese was so good. And then Tyreek, yeah, he was Chef Ty, he was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always smile when we do food interviews.
Oh, I do. Because I know at the end I'm gonna get to eat something.
Right. Yeah, yes. More to come. So stay tuned, you guys. We got more coming, more chefs
Yeah,
coming.
check out that show for sure. All right, now I'm gonna switch it over. I have another question. This one's a little fun. Like, what's your biggest pet peeve, working in Hollywood, having to deal with a lot of people who's pursuing their different dreams and you're pursuing your dream.
I would say my biggest pet peeve is fake people or
Mhm.
pretenders. So pretenders, people who are trying to be something that they're not, because I see through it all, are people who tell you something and that's not what it's really going to be. When we all run across those people,
Yeah,
especially, living in New York for a little bit, it's like people there, what they tell you is exactly what it is. And I realize here, that's one of the main things. It's like when somebody in LA may tell you something, it might happen, it may not. You never know. They might show up, they may not. But like me, I'm a tourist. So like I'm a solid, loyal friend. Like if I can't make something, it's gonna be for a valid reason. You know what I mean? But it's like my word is just bond because that's how you build trust with people. But it really is annoying with this industry. It's like, it's a lot of pretenders or people who, are just not who they say they are. And I think that's like a really big thing for me with somebody who's really very transparent. You know what I mean? So I think that's, one of the most annoying things.
Yeah, I could hear that right there. All right.
Yeah.
Now we just talked about a whole lot of things, but the main thing is that I met you. You were a model. You still
Yeah.
are a model, but you were modeling at a fashion show, and you modeled. You modeled amazing. I gotta say, you're one of my favorite models to shoot. You have this graceful walk. Your height is like the height that's good for my height as far as shooting. A lot of people don't know that the photographer and model is a certain type of thing that makes these images look. Height is part of it too. But
Yeah. Connection and connection.
connection, definitely. You got to be a good connection, a good understanding, and comfortability there that brings out that naturalness in the shots. But I have a question about the fashion show. So, you done a lot of fashion shows? So, what is your favorite fashion show you ever done?
Ooh, I think my favorite fashion show I ever done was the one I just did in New York Fashion Week. The one where I was wearing the two-piece outfit because not only was it a bigger production, but it was just super professional. I definitely felt like that all the years of me doing my modeling, that was one of my biggest shows, like a big peak in my career, but also too, like, as far as the designer, me and her really connected. She was really, really sweet, because it's like when you're working with these people for the first time, we all know it's a big chance that you're taking. You're putting your image out there, she's putting her image out there. It's like a trust thing, especially for the first time. So, we had never met. We met online and everything kind of turned out exactly how she said it was. The outfit fit perfectly. The shots came out really nice. And it was just a smooth ride. I really felt in that divine feminine energy, like she was really big on like energy and like she had meaning behind the design of her clothes. Like she was giving like a big tribute to her grandmother. Like it was nice, So I think that was definitely one of my favorite shows, for sure. For sure.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw some of the video clips. I was like, she's out there killing it. I love it. And I'm like, you're way over in New York. I'm used to you being in LA. And let's talk about that. I want to know, how did you get to New York from LA? What made you go that way?
So yeah, look, we're getting a little deep. Okay, well, I've been going to New York honestly for a long time. Well, not too long, but just a couple years. It's always been a dream of mine. I'm from the Midwest, Indiana. So I've always been a small town girl with like big city dreams, So LA was my first spot. I got here because my grandfather lived here. But also I went to school out here. And New York was also a city that I always wanted to try out because I realized like I noticed I'm like I said, I pay attention to people's like persona and just energy. And I have friends from like all over the world, thankfully. So always noticed that my friends from the East Coast who were like born and raised, they were like super aggressive, super not aggressive, well, partially aggressive, but like very direct, very exactly what they say it's gonna be. They were just pretty good at just like sorry about that. Yeah, so they were very direct, very aggressive, and very just go-getter. Like anywhere they would go, it's like they would take over. So I was like, you know what? Me, I'm little, I'm from a small town. I lived in LA for a bit, but honestly, I wonder like I like to challenge myself. So I'm like, I wonder what it would be like actually living in New York, and working in New York, and also just expanding my market as, a model and actress. So I would go out there for different jobs, connecting with like some agencies and stuff. But it just so happened a guy that I was dating was from there. And it all kind of just aligned, with you speaking to existence, it actually shows up. So it just so happened that he was like, you ever thought about moving there? I decided to try it out, but I was also, like I said, working with some agencies out there. So long story short, it all kind of just aligned.
Okay. Nice. That's
All
nice.
kind of aligned. Yeah, New York's been on my vision board for a couple of years now. So
Nice. And you like the city? It looks like it does on TV and things to you.
I do like the city. Like I said, it definitely adds that. I feel like with me being from the Midwest, I have that humble beginnings, that family orientedness in me. Being in LA, I also got that, California sunshine type of vibe. I got that there, but also to living in New York for the past 6 months, it did make me a little bit more aggressive as far as still being feminine, but also being direct as far as business, but also too, I'm a Taurus. So I used to move very slow. So out there, it's like time is money. So you're gonna have to speed things up. So it's like, because you might have to do literally 10 things in one day, but it's like everything might be back to back to back to back. So with that, like I've learned to just speed things up a lot more because you know me for years, Jay. You know I'm a little slow. I've been moving a little slow the past couple of years. I like to take my time, but out
Yeah.
there it's like time is money. You can't do that. And not to mention they are 3 hours ahead of California. So the days go by so fast out there. So I kind of learned that balance as far as still being, in my energy, but also to learning when to move, basically. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now, I'm thinking about this. Be a very beautiful woman, as we can all see, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that there's a lot of men that meet you and they're like, "Hey, I like you," right? And so, from what you've been telling me, you have a lot of things going on. You have your business, you have modeling, you have your show, your talk show, and I'm sure that you've had relationships in the past. So without talking about any current relationship, let's think about like any relationships in the past or anything. Do relationships affect like your motivation, your growth, you pursuing these many dreams? They all seem like to be wrapped up into one thing because it's about a brand. You are the brand. So
Yeah.
does in relationships affect your brand? And if it does, how do you make it better?
Well, to be honest, Jay, I learn as I go. I think every experience or relationship that I've been through, I've only been in three serious ones. And I feel like everyone I've been through has taught me something. So, as far as, because like the first, relationship, you got all these dreams, especially as, women, but it's like us women sometimes we grow up, wanting to do this and do that, but sometimes the wrong man to come in your life and you completely forget about all your dreams that you want to do, or realize that, you put yourself on the back burner and then you end up resenting that person, so or they end up resenting you for even having those dreams because maybe they're not as ambitious or something. So I realized it's like, just kind of let it flow, learn from it, but still just don't give up on yourself because the right person will respect that you do have dreams. You know what I mean? It's all about balance. I feel like, you got to have balance as far as your relationships, being present there, but also being present in your business as well. So I think, that's what the divine feminine energy is that I'm learning as I've grown through these relationships and been through them. Like it's all about balance. You know what I mean? Being present in any and everything that you're doing, and also scheduling everything out, writing it down. Like maybe, when you come home from your work, that's when you turn it off, you get back into that feminine mode. But like when you're out, during the day, you're working on your business and stuff, that's when you kind of got to tap into like that, that strong woman, that businesswoman face, so you just gotta, it's all about like, time and place and being with the right person who also is ambitious as well. Because I realize with me, like as somebody who's ambitious and have goals, you got to be able to be ambitious too. It's not gonna work, and just like as far as you as a creative, you know what I mean? It's like you got to be interested in something or they got to be understanding. Otherwise, it's not gonna work too. So I feel like like I said, being a spiritual person, things that the person is not for you, it'll just not work. But eventually, same as you find your tribe, you'll eventually find your mate who respects your hustle, who's also ambitious, but also who allows him to still lead and be the man, but allows you to still kind of be present in that feminine energy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's all about balance for me, I would say. But I used to put myself a little bit, I'm gonna be honest, like business is a little bit more on the back burner when I'm in a relationship, but now it's just all about balance. So hopefully that answered. That was a long answer, but yeah.
No, that was a good answer. It was like it's gonna help some people, someone that hears that because a lot of people do deal with finding if if their mate matches them, and you did mention that in that balance. And this is something I kind of learned a little bit is that we all hear that opposites attract, right? We always hear that.
Yeah,
The thing about that is, like, if you have two magnets, they can attract, but they can be opposite. So they can stick or they can push each other away. And
exactly.
the
That's true.
thing you want to, you really,
And
people,
sometimes opposites are good.
they're good, but like two magnets, they can push each other away or they could stick. It could be one or the other, you know.
Yeah.
I think that when people find someone that is not an opposite but actually the same, things move a little smoother. And though opposites attract, we have to go find something that's the same. And when you were saying that, you're like, oh, someone that understands or moves like you. That's what you're saying, finding someone that's the same. You know,
Hmm.
so I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, and it also too goes into more so like knowing yourself, like spending time, a little bit of time alone before you even get with the person, because it's like then you're gonna end up another person cannot be your happiness. You gotta already be happy inside, and then that's when two halves make, I mean, two whole people make something amazing. You know what I mean? You can't just go looking for another person to fulfill that empty void. So I don't know if you got to do like some soul searching, like I had to do, get more into like your moon sign, your astrology sign. A lot of people don't believe in astrology, but again, that all goes into just knowing yourself. I'm not saying like, oh, today's Tuesday. That means this is going to happen to a Virgo or because you're a Taurus. I'm saying you got to really dig into yourself, know what you like, what you dislike, what you want to do, and then eventually you're going to find another person who also did the work on themselves and you guys just gel. But again, if two unhealed people come together and it's just not going to work or they're not going to understand each other. Again, another person I had to learn it the hard way cannot make you happy. You got to already be happy inside first and then that person is just a bonus to it. So, with or without a person, I realize I'll be okay. But obviously, you want somebody. I know I'm going to be married one day. I do, want to be married, and that I feel like is the most divine union, husband and wife. But again, before you come into that. That interaction, make sure you ready, like you would tell me, make sure you ready to be a wife, make sure you ready to be a husband before that happens. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. Great answer. Okay, I want to know something. There's some
Hmm.
Hollywood gossip stuff here. What do
Okay.
you think about the Diddy verdict?
Ooh. Oh man, what do I think about the Diddy verdict? Well, I think that I feel like a lot of it was, unfortunate. A lot of people in power obviously, take advantage of that. But at the same time, I also feel like a lot of people know what they're getting themselves into. So it's like, I'm not gonna walk into a situation or go to his house not knowing that there's a possibility that this may happen or that may happen. But it's like when you put yourself in these situations, there's a chance that that can happen, but also we do know too that a lot of women do get taken advantage of, unfortunately. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. But I just feel like it's just unfortunate. And
Yeah.
you only the strong survive. Only the strong survive. That's all I'm gonna say. Only the strong survive. Because another thing is like when you're not healed, the right person can men are you guys are very smart, so y'all can sniff when a woman is unhealed, got low confidence, or women that y'all can kind of take advantage of because they're looking for a daddy or like they're lost, you know what I mean? So if you kind of don't got your, not say have your guard up, but if you kind of are okay with just the okey doke, then, and especially if there's not a conversation that's being had, then the wrong man is going to take advantage of that. That's just the reality of it. It's unfortunate, for us women, but if, a man would do what a woman kind of allows. So it's like, if you kind of lost in the sauce, especially if you're looking for a quick come up and you're dealing with people of that stature, then of course something like that could happen. So, but a lot of times it's like you kind of wanted it at the time, but then when it gets to like the unfortunate part, that's when it's like, okay, now that happened, this happened because women we're very emotional, so it's like when it comes like when we're not getting what we want, that's when unfortunately a lot of the negative stuff that we were dealing with behind the scenes, kind of comes out. But it's like, you knew that was happening a long time ago. So it's
Yeah.
unfortunate overall, I would say it is. But
Yeah.
we got to just be smarter. We got to be smarter.
Yeah, I hear you on that. You definitely have to be smarter. Yeah, 4 years, you think that was enough time for the alleged things?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's really unfortunate what happened to Cassie. You know what I mean? Because it's like women, sometimes we feel like we don't have a way out, so that I think that was really unfortunate after like seeing those videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, like and going through a mentally abusive situation myself, I'm like, oh, that's like traumatizing to see, but at the same time, it's just like when you gotta just pay attention to you gotta be conscious of these things earlier on. You know what I mean? Like you gotta be awakened because it's like if not, then stuff will sneak up on you, and next thing you know, you in something and you don't even know you've been in it this long because this is how long you've been unconscious. That you know what I mean? And that's the honest truth. When I was dealing with something like that, I definitely wasn't awakened. I didn't know myself. I had low self-esteem and I did not know my power as a woman, and that's also, which is a part of the reason why I, created this brand, to show women that you can still be in your feminine energy, but you do have power as a woman. You're not voiceless, you're not powerless. So she was in it for a long time, so it just happened, it's unfortunate that it happened so long, but yeah, it's unfortunate. That's all I could say. And I think what is done in the dark eventually comes out in the light anyway. So a lot of times it's like we're in spiritual warfare. And it's like if you even if you think you're getting away with something or you're doing something wrong, eventually every dog has his day. And I'm sorry to say it. I've seen it, but it happens eventually. So and that's what happened to him. He was moving around for a long time, had that power for years.
Ooh, for real, for real, for
Years. He was the GOAT, and it's like,
real.
then people were scared of him.
Since we were on the Diddy thing, let's stay in entertainment a little bit. All right,
Okay.
I'm never really in the loop of these type of things, so I'm gonna need you to tell me what is this Cardi B Nicki Minaj beef going? What is that?
Ooh, yeah. I've been doing some research on that as well. Well, honestly, it looks like to me that Cardi has a album out, and I'm not gonna lie, the album is fire. Like this is like one of the nicest albums I've heard from her. It's very inspiring for women going through breakups, women who are just trying to be on that boss chick energy, women who are go-getters. It's nice, that's good because it's like what they say, put your pain into your craft, whether that's music, your art, your acting, whatever you do creatively the best stuff comes out when you put your pain into it, which is shocking, So this one I feel like was a pain album, her kind of healing from the Offset thing, now she got a new love in her life. Now she's pregnant again, and she just put her all into it, So it was really good. And I feel like Nicki Minaj, it's she wasn't really feeling all the clout I feel like Cardi was getting. I don't know what initially started the beef. But from what I read, she kind of brought up Cardi B's kids, and I feel like when it comes to that, that's just, that's an innocent child. I don't feel like you should bring people's children into it, but at the same time, it's like women are competitive. Let's just be honest. Women are competitive, and a lot of women are very jealous, So I feel like that's kind of what was going on here. We're both artists, we're both rappers, and instead of like realizing that we're stronger together, it's like, okay, well, let's go neck and neck. Me personally, I like Cardi, but I also feel like with Nicki Minaj being, much older, I don't know how much older she is, but she's been in the game a lot longer. She should give her a little bit more respect.
Mm,
Um, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just like she not thinking that way. You can actually probably learn some things from her, but unfortunately they can't kind of connect. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on, right now. So from what I read.
yeah.
I also feel like too, Nicki Minaj, if you know you the queen, some stuff you just don't even need to stoop down to. Like again, going back to the power of ignoring. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not about to even stoop on that level. So when you ignore people, that makes them look so much more sillier. They may get even more pissed off. It's just like you so ahead of the game and you've been doing this so much longer. It's like, why would I even stoop down to your level? Like you're not on even the same caliber as me.
Yeah.
But by actually getting involved with her and then going neck and neck as far as the children, now it appears that like everybody's on Cardi B's side. And now it's like Nicki Minaj is getting less and less respect from something that she engaged herself in. So I don't know. But at the same time, us women, we can be competitive, unfortunately. So
So,
I think
so So you don't think they're trolling us? You don't think that Nikki and Cardi get on a Zoom call like me and you right now, and Nick Cardi's like, I got an album coming out, sis, and I need to get these numbers up. And she like, okay, sis, but just remember, it's gonna have to come back, So when I'm dropping my album in March, I'm gonna need to get some heat on you too, because like it's real hard to promote, and it's like promoting is so expensive, but this trolling
True.
stuff really. So you don't think they be doing that,
True. I think that I think some people a lot of people do that in the industry. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the beefs is planned. And
Yeah.
that's something I had to learn. That's another secret about Hollywood. But this one I feel like between like the fights, because Nicki Cardi B had something where she was knotted up at one point from some like award show, the Met Gala. It's like y'all at the Met Gala and y'all really making it ghetto. Like, why are we doing this? But at the same time, they're two girls from New York, and it's like, okay, stand on what you said you were going to stand on, and that's kind of what happened. But I think that what you're saying is right. But I think as far as this, with them being so real, I don't think this is something that's planned.
Mm,
I'm gonna be honest, Jay. I do not. Mm-mm.
okay. They're like,
So,
nah, I'm really on this. I mean, they talking about each other kids, or one of them talking about kids or something. So yes.
yeah, kids retarded and stuff. I don't even want to
Oh,
repeat what it said, but I was like,
oh,
oh my God, that is so mean.
I didn't
Like, why are we talking about innocent kids? That's crazy.
know.
Wow. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I can see,
But
I can see, I can see that might be a real one. Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Cardi B's album is pretty good. I gotta give it to her. It's nice.
I'm gonna check it out. I actually like Cardi B. I like her as a rapper. Like a lot of women rappers, they are rappers, but Cardi B, she raps, and I like it. Whoever writes her stuff, whether it's her or anyone, it comes off really good. So
Yeah, I like them both. I'm not gonna lie. I do like them both. Cardi B's more current right now. Obviously, she's younger, she's more popping right now. She's funny. She's showing more of her personality. And I like Nicki Minaj, a lot of her stuff as well. But it's like everybody got a chance to shine. Everybody has their prime moment. So it's like sometimes you just gotta let people have their moment. You know what I mean? You had yours, so it's like, so anyway.
all right, I want to know this. I see you online. You travel a lot. Um, look like you go to different countries. How many countries have you that you can remember? How many countries have you traveled to?
I can't count off the top of my head, but I think as of now, actually I'm at about seven. I'm about seven. Yeah. So I
Okay.
love traveling. Traveling is good for the soul. And I like to see how everybody's living. So I'm kind of like a free spirit. Like,
Did I see you with like a long red dress walking somewhere like a drone shot or something?
yes,
What was
that was
that?
actually in Dubai. That was a flying dress.
Yeah, that was tight.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, I love Dubai. That Dubai is very, very beautiful. So that was nice.
Yeah, you guys who don't know who Deja Breedlove is, you got to check out her Instagrams or her TikTok. Oh, she does a lot. She's a great person, and check out her modeling. And if you ever get to see that shot with her walking with that red dress, that's bananas right there. So all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Question. Say you had a time machine and you were able to go back to the past to your young version of yourself, and you can prove to your young version of yourself that you are you. What advice would you give yourself that you think would, ch- I don't know, if change you right now, but better you right now?
Mm, I would say the first thing at the top of my head would be love myself first.
Okay.
So you can still love people, but love yourself first. And that's not selfish. Self-care is never selfish, but as far as not making yourself uncomfortable for the comfortability of others. You know what I mean? So again, you could still say no and still be kind and have boundaries. I feel like my younger self was just more so like just there for the pleasure of others, whether that's, giving them my energy or just giving them my time or just I used to really like to make people happy and I still do, but I've gotten a lot more stricter with just my boundaries and just more selfish with myself as far as you can still love people from a distance, but again, if you don't have any boundaries, people will definitely take advantage of that. They'll take advantage of your time, they'll take advantage of your kindness. And they just sometimes just walk all over you. They will walk all over people. They'll take your kindness for weakness. So I feel like definitely I will love myself first. and then continue to love others. So
Okay, I like that. It sounds like you would fly in that machine lander and say, "Hey, listen, little Deja, people gonna take your kindness for weakness."
seriously,
That's
it's
what it sounds like.
true.
That's what you're gonna say.
It's
Don't
true.
fall for it. Put yourself first, right?
Exactly, exactly. So again, you can still love people, but you gotta have boundaries and people will respect you more. So
Yeah. All right. And so, how about this? If you had 30 seconds to tell, like 30 seconds to speak to the whole world, and everyone had to listen, what would you tell the world in that 30 seconds?
I would say get to know yourself on a really deep level, and everything else you will attract everything that aligns with that, who you truly are. Get to know yourself as far as, like I said, your likes, your dislikes, get more into your spirituality, like know yourself as far as get to know your astrology sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, your Venus, which is your love language, your Mars, which is your communication language. Like, just get to know yourself on a real deep level. Spend some time alone, and then you're going to attract the man that you want or the woman you want, the family that you want, the career that you want, just everything that aligns with that. But it comes with knowing yourself first and awakening your conscious. And that way you can just, attract everything that goes along with who you truly are. So I would say that.
Yeah,
Know
that's awesome.
thyself.
Yeah, know yourself. Like I like
Yeah.
that. And you've been touching that a lot through everything we talked
Yeah,
about. I can tell
man.
that you've got a lot of growth and really found out who you are and know who you are, and there's no pushing that from anybody.
Yeah, because it's like when you know who you are, nobody can like move you, nobody can shake you because you know who you truly are, and it took a lot of relationships for me to realized that, a lot of tears. I'm the type of person, like I said, I like to challenge myself. So unfortunately, I had to learn everything the hard way, whether that's, getting my heart broken or rather than me going through the dark, getting burned a couple times. Like, I got to learn everything the hard way. That's just, I'm sweet, but I like a challenge. So it took a lot to get here. And I realized like I've never been the happiest than I am now. And that comes from just knowing who I truly am. So yeah, I'm excited for what God is gonna bring me.
Yeah,
I'm all open.
love it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so as we close this out, I want you to just, let everyone know, who you are, how they can find, like, well, we know who you are, but how they can, find you, your social media or anything like that, and any shout outs that you want to give to someone, special or whatever.
Um, well, yeah, I would say you can find me at I am Daisha Marie, IAM, and then my name is Daisha. Some people spell it wrong all the time, but Daisha Marie. And then also when you go to that, or type in Daisha Breedlove, you'll kind of find all my other socials. So it's the same on pretty much all the platforms. As of now, I don't want to give out any shout outs. But I want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for allowing me to kind of open up. And yeah, I love working with you, Jay. That's the go right there. He shoots all my pictures, all my, the show and everything. And I'm excited. Another creative new journey that you just started as far as this goes, to where now you're, interviewing people and interviewing me, which I never really get interviews. So this was interesting. I can be kind of private sometimes, but I'm happy we did this. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Tune in, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, keep them comments coming too. Have questions for me to ask on the next episode.